Well, I wanted to start this off with a story. So, try to draw you in and kind of grasp what I'm trying to tell you here. So, a few years ago, we have a police officer. He's been on the force less than a year, has a wife, 2 kids, and he's just doing his job. Did 4 years in the Navy. Then we have on the other side a man, a gang member, that's doing his thing, which is probably not good. So he ends up getting pulled over by this police officer. Routine traffic stop. Police officer goes up, and little did he know that within 3 minutes he would be pleading for his life and that he would eventually lose it. Right there in the moment, you have a family destroyed. You have a wife now left widowed, 2 kids with no dad. And the gang member as well was married, and he also had 2 kids. You have another family destroyed. Now, as I go through this story, there's 2 questions I want you to think about, and I want you to answer. The first one is, how would I feel? And the second question is, what would I do? So as they go through the trial, the guy is obviously guilty, and they convict him, and they get to the point of deciding what his fate is going to be, whether it's the death penalty, which he was definitely entitled to because he killed a police officer in line of duty, or life in prison. And what we find is when you're in that situation and you ask yourself, at least when I ask myself, what would I do? I wanted the death penalty. I wanted the guy dead because he deserved it. He must be the scum of the earth. He's been living a life, who knows, doing what as a gang member. And look at what he did to this guy. Trying to do his job, he's trying to do something good for the society, for a community, for his family, and he pays the ultimate price. And what would I do is I would condemn him. I would definitely want for him to pay. So I want you to just ask yourself what you would do. And as we go, froze on me. To John chapter 8, verse 7 and verse 8. And I'm reading from the New Living Translation. And it says, "They kept demanding an answer, so he stood up again and said, 'All right, but let the one who has never sinned throw the first stone.' Then he stooped down again and wrote in the dust." And I'll read on to 9. "When the accusers heard this, they slipped away one by one, beginning with the oldest, until only Jesus was left in the middle of the crowd with the woman." So this is probably a very familiar verse to most of us here. And what we get out of this is always the question, well, where was the guy? Well, they didn't do anything with him, They only brought the girl. Jesus was writing in the sand. He must have been writing something, He's probably writing their sins down, That's irrelevant for what we're talking about. What I want to point you towards is Jesus was just sitting there, and they come and bring this person to him, accusing her. They want judgment. They want blood. They want her dead. Because why? She broke the law. She broke a covenant with God, and she deserved to be stoned. And Jesus was just sitting there. He probably knew the answer already. He's just sitting there. And he goes, okay, you know what? You're right. You're right. She deserves death. So go ahead. If you don't have sin, throw the first stone. And he just lays back, waits, writing some more stuff on the ground. And eventually everybody leaves. And Jesus is left with this woman. He's the only one that can condemn her. He's the only one that can throw that stone. And what did he do? He forgave her. So going back to my story, so this guy is in this situation. He's either going to die or go to jail forever. And the interesting twist is that the wife of the police officer happened to be a Christian herself. And she decided to forgive him. So in court, on sentencing day, she asked the judge not to kill him. She forgave him. And, I mean, you can just imagine what that scene must be like. You got his wife, you know, the killer's wife there with her kids. And you got the police officer's wife with her family, her kids. And, I mean, the killer's wife is probably expecting the worst, you know. But what she learned that day was a message of forgiveness. And that's what Jesus was bringing. That's the message that Jesus was bringing to everyone there. That underneath that judgment, there's an opportunity to forgive. So, what I want to kind of point out is that is forgiveness. When you're in a position where you can judge, you can try forgiveness. And if you feel judged, you can seek forgiveness as well. That's what Jesus is. He came to set us free, not to condemn or to judge. And so I want to leave you with that before you judge, try forgiveness. And if you feel judged, seek forgiveness. Thank you.
Thanks.